Hi, my name's Dave Hill. I'm a coach. I'm the founder of Simplicity in Mind. But before all of that, I was a rifleman, and I set Simplicity up in mind about 3 or 4 years ago now, in order to help more veterans that are struggling. And the way that I do that is by working with a number of organisations and private individuals to earn an income, and then I give about 60% of my time away, uh, mainly to riflemen through the Always a Rifleman program. I do a bit of mentoring for the regiment, and as well as working with people locally. Um, but what I thought I'd share with you today, after Chris's kind invite, is one of the things that I've noticed that people struggle with, and that's not necessarily all to do with leaving the forces, um, but it is transitions, and our ability to move from one state to another. And we have, the older we get, the more of these occasions we go through in life. For me personally, that's been changing school. That's been moving house and friends as a child. That's been leaving school and joining the army. Leaving the army and getting a civilian job, initially with Amazon and then with Standard Life Investments, before going off and doing my own thing. As well as personal transitions, relationships starting, relationships breaking up, becoming a parent. All of those things are points of change, and they can feel quite tricky to navigate at times. So I thought I'd share with you today some of the things that I've seen that have been helpful for the people that I've been working with. And to make life easier, I do have, and will be able to share with you, very simple back of the fag packet PDF, basically, on some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about today. So if you'd like that, by all means, put a comment in at the end, and I'll send that through to you, so that you don't need to take notes just now and have something else to refer back to. But as you can see from this, it is hopefully fairly light-hearted, a bit of fun, and we'll see what we can create around what can be really quite a tricky time for people from time to time. So, what I've found to be really, really helpful is realize that transitions, when they feel difficult, feel quite heavy, feel like there's a lot on our shoulders. But at some point on the journey of exploring what that's all about, they start to feel more like an adventure. Our curiosity kicks in, and we start to realize that we've got more going for us than we thought we might have done, or more available to us in terms of resources that we hadn't actually considered to start off with. So that's where I'd invite you to start thinking about transitions. So before we do, there's a couple of things that are really helpful to remember. Firstly, we are never the first people to be going through the thing that we're about to go into. It feels a bit scary for us because it's completely new for us, but that's absolutely fine. Um, the fact that other people have been there and done this beforehand means there are people that we can go and speak to. Um, Also, we all have tons of experience. There are a huge amount of things that we've done in our life and over our careers that we completely take for granted, and don't think of as being special or useful, transferable or relevant to the next chapter that we're moving into. But actually, there are a lot of skills that we've learned along the way, whether that was at school or in sports teams when we were younger, through to the various different roles that we've held during our service or after, that are going to be critical and intrinsic to who we are, how we show up, and the offer that we have to take into the world. So it's remembering that we have got a ton of experience. And with that we're fully equipped to start. This isn't our first rodeo. We have changed directions at some point, whether that's within a career, your first promotion and your step up into a position of responsibility, potentially from not a position of irresponsibility, but you know what I mean, a position of less responsibility. And realizing that we've done these things before and that we have found some of that tricky in the past, but still got to where we are today, means that we can navigate that next step with the certainty that we will have everything that we need available to us when we need it. And that's the bit that we tend to struggle with. Um, One of the useful things the military has taught us, okay, is the acronym KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. But probably for the PC world, we should probably switch that stupid to sunshine. So keep it simple, sunshine. Allowing us to just check our homework. Have we made this more complicated than we need to? What else is there that we can take forward here? And that's one of the reasons why I've hand drawn the handout today. There is especially in this day of ChatGPT, AI, and all the rest of it, and the ability to create smart graphics quite easily and simply, that can take time. We have the capacity to put marks on bits of paper and convey a message in a really simple way that helps other people along the journey. It also helps point out the fact that things in life aren't perfect, and we can spend a lot of time trying to polish things to make them look better, when actually the thought process that goes into creating them in the first place is the most important thing. And is there enough for people to understand what it is that I'm saying? Okay, we all have that capacity. The sketch map that we draw when we're on a recce patrol and we bring back to show our commander helps a huge amount. But it's a rough drawn piece of kit, and absolutely helpful. And the last thing to remember is that uncertainty can feel really uncomfortable at times. It can feel like we're getting turned inside out. It can feel like we're alone. And what I'd say to that is that discomfort that we're experiencing is just asking us to take our foot off the gas. It's reminding us, rather than to try and go faster, but to see that we have the capacity within ourselves to take a condor moment, have a look around, and work out what we're not seeing in this moment. Who in our network might be helpful to us, that we can tap into to try and understand a little bit more about the situation that we're stepping into. So for me, a guiding principle for all the work that I do with my clients, whether they are servicemen and women that are leaving the forces, veterans that are out in the world already, or the private clients and organizations that I work with, is actually to follow the feeling. If something feels like it's right, then there's something in that gut intuition that is there gently guiding us in the right direction. If we feel like we're getting overexcited or over concerned, or that our ego is kicking in, going, yeah, this, despite all the things you think are important to you, this looks big and shiny. Go off and do that. You'll love it. Okay. There's something to be wary of in that. How do we know when that's going on? Well, the good old fashioned SWOT analysis can help us out here, looking honestly at what our strengths and our weaknesses are, what the opportunities are that are available to us, and that the threats are. If we do that honestly for ourselves, not to try and cause problems for ourselves, but just to see where it is that we might need to bolster our understanding, what our red lines are, the things that we don't want to go anywhere near. That was one of the things that I learnt with my time at Amazon. I left the army to create more space to spend more time with my family. And I found the shift pattern that I ended up on absolutely got in the way of that. Yes, I was physically at home every day, but most of the time I was dead to the world and of no service to anybody that I cared about. So I eventually cottoned on to that and went, actually, no, I need to change this. And we have the capacity to be able to do that. But it starts off with an element of understanding who we are, what's important to us, what our strengths are so we can play to them, what our weaknesses are so that we can learn more to try and cater for those, Or actually, if it's a weakness, for me, I'm dyslexic. My written word isn't as strong as it might be. So if I am creating something that is a long piece of writing, I will share that with someone beforehand so that it can be proofread, because there's going to be stuff in there that I don't capture. Now, I don't see that as a problem. It's something that I just need to be aware of and factor a bit of extra time into. So there's something really, really interesting in here for us to be able to turn those weaknesses either into opportunities for us to learn, and potentially into strengths by learning new techniques and new skills. Um, Another thing to remember is that our networks, the people that are in our lives already, are a treasure trove of information, and that we just need to ask people for their assistance. One of the things that I noticed when I was leaving the army was a lot of my friends were doing jobs I thought I'd never enjoy doing. But because they were doing them and they seemed to be enjoying them, I thought that might be an interesting thing to go and explore and understand. And in some cases, I was right. What they were doing wasn't my cup of tea. But in some, it opened my eyes up to things that actually I had dismissed or not even considered as things that were involved in those jobs. So leaning into your network and understanding who it is that's out there, the things that they're up to, what you might be able to learn from that is really, really helpful. But one of the biggest bonuses about networks isn't necessarily the direct relationship you have, but when they start thinking about how they might serve you, how they might help you out, they will be thinking about their own networks. And that's where the power of networking comes in. It's those second or third order connections that really help shine a light on the things that we need to learn. Um, but again, it's one of those things that we tend to forget about. Forget about all the wealth of knowledge and experience that sits out there in the world and the people that we already are connected to. Um, Now, I know asking for help can feel like being quite vulnerable, or that we are being quite vulnerable, and we don't want to expose our weaknesses and all of those kind of things. Actually, by being a little bit vulnerable, by showing up, going, right, well, this is who I am at the moment. These are the things that I think I need to work on. What do you think? Certainly with our close networks, is a really, really helpful thing to validate that SWOT analysis that I was talking about a few minutes ago, and seeing whether there's anything in there from someone else's perspective of them disagreeing and go, actually, no, I think that's one of your strengths, or I think that's a real opportunity for you, because the things I've seen in you in the past have actually talked to that quite a lot. So your uncertainty and discomfort around that, the vulnerability that I might be feeling around that particular topic, might be completely unfounded. And that's where a combination of honesty with yourself, sharing these thoughts with close friends in your network, and leaning into them for support is really, really helpful. Now, what I would encourage you to do whenever you come across one of these transition moments in life, whether that is a change in working circumstances, a massive change in role, be that from the forces to a different sector, or between sectors afterwards, or even God forbid the changes in personal relationships that are happening on a large scale. If we can slow ourselves down, take each step at a time, and if we notice ourselves feeling overwhelmed, give ourselves some space. If we can look for the opportunity to see things as an adventure, try and have fun in the process, then we'll have more chance of going with the flow of what is being presented to us moment to moment, and working out how best to navigate that. Um, we've got a huge amount of experience wherever we are in our life journey. And there is always more to learn. If we go out into the world looking for those opportunities with that mindset of what can I do next, then we won't go far wrong. So I'll leave you with that. If you've got any questions for me, please just get in touch, stick something in the comments. And if you want a copy of this handout thing, just message me and I'll send it along. Take care.